Alright boys, let's go on this next gameplay commentary here. As always, we are playing a 1-2-4 rules set with GC only, so Grand Campaign factions only. The map size is large and yeah, I honestly don't remember the name of the map right now, so I'm just going to skip this one. I could have taken notes, but I didn't, so never mind. As we see here, the factions we have is Rome, led by myself, my allies, Egypt, and this one is called Nervii. On the other side, we have Arverni defending, and Carthage, and the third one in the bundle is Luciani. So, I would say let's get right into this. This will take some time, but this will be worth the time because in the ending, this will be so close as can be. So, it's gonna be a very epic siege with really good players, grinding it out step by step. But let's stop the talk and start the action. Let's go. So, as some little advice, here I did some little mistake because I dared to position my artillery, my stationary artillery, in the back here, where I thought the distance should be big enough so the wall art should not reach my artillery. But here I took like 1, 2, 3 foot too less. So Arverni is seeing this and starting to shoot at my artillery, which he is going to almost destroy. Yeah, so therefore, the little advice, if you position your artillery, always make sure you have the right distance and maybe even position towers in front of your artillery so they cannot hit it. And make sure you destroy the artillery or at least kill the crew before you are going to move your towers and make them vulnerable. So as you can see right here, we are all three moving up. Not much time is wasted, and we're trying to get in here because we are going to need to grind through here, and this really takes time. For those of you who have played this city, they know it's pretty hard to take. It's a very big one where the victory point is right here. Right here. This one is the point we have to get. We have to conquer. And to get here, there's only a few possibilities. So if you break it down, there's some choke points right here, and maybe on the back side here. But this way is so long, all the way around here, that in most cases you will not use it because it's very dangerous. It's like covered with 1, 2, or let's say 1, 2 towers, and of course here down here is also here's a gate, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4 because you have to get in here. It's pretty much circled in, and this is just, not to make it too long, a very dangerous route to go through because the defenders obviously could also go on the walls up there and shoot down slingers or stuff, and this is just right. So yeah, pretty dangerous. So you should not do this in most cases. But let's go back to where we started. First one to breach the walls and get in here is Egypt. He's really like, I want this battle, I want to taste some blood, and this is what he's getting. So what you see here is some Libyan infantry, so some really solid warriors sword infantry versus light Galatian swords. They will keep here the Libyans the upper hand in this battle. Also, as they're pretty much backed up here. And I myself decided to go slow on this one, because over here, for example, we have Luciani turning around this artillery and shooting straight in here into my men. So I decided to push up my towers here to cover them and not to jump in here in first place, because I'm seeing this that Luciani is positioning a bunch of slingers, Rhodian slingers. No, it's not Rhodian slingers actually. It's Barbarian slingers. Okay. But I guess it's also Rhodian slingers, and those guys are pretty deadly. At least I thought it was only Rhodians. So I didn't want to show my side or even the back, if they can see it then, to those slingers, because then he would just go and pick me off here step by step. So at this point I made the decision, which was not so easy, because I didn't want to leave my teammates behind and do all the work, because this could always backfire, of course. But I decided to go slow on this one first, because it was, for my understanding, just too risky to jump in here. I had a bad feeling about this. Maybe it would be possible because it's just spears here in front, but it's just, if you played this game for a while, and I played this since the release, you just get kind of feeling when to jump in somewhere or not, and this time I just said nope. I just let Egypt go do the hard work first. So credits to Egypt. And also Nervii for doing the first step and jumping in. So as you can see, this one is pretty much lined up. So face-to-face battle in both positions. And both of my allies are doing some good grinding here. Good progress. Yeah, look at these. Some nice artillery strikes. Also causing some casualties on the ally side. But this is of course always the risk if you use artillery. You position them pretty good, I guess. And boom, look at this strike. This one was nasty. Real good one. So in my opinion, it's always good if you know where the defenders are going to defend, and if you expect them to be there, maybe in greater numbers, or of course, depending on the funds, you can use artillery pretty good. I wanted to do the same thing, but unfortunately, two of my artillery pieces got destroyed, and right at this point I didn't want to use it because the targets I'm seeing here that are reachable, have kind of like this distance to here, are not worth the ammo. So I'm just waiting for an opportunity that gets better to shoot in here. Maybe if they would fill up the space in here a little bit more with more units, if they would dare to move forward, I would have the chance to get my artillery activated and shoot in here, which at this point I didn't do. And also, because I'm just seeing this right here, you have those amazing Cretan archers here by Egypt, which are lightening up the enemy forces. They are shooting from an angle that is not too favorable, because as you see, those guys here, those Libyans, are directly facing the shots of those archers. So the thing is, if you shoot them right into the face, It sounds more dramatic as it is because those guys have armor, they have shields, they have helmets, and if you shoot directly towards them, they are very likely to block your shots. So the damage you cause is, yeah, not too much, obviously. So what you could do, for example, here is if you know you like to soften up those Libyans because they are good targets, you could just walk around here and shoot from this side right into their backs, or from his side right into the backs of those ones. Those guys are cheaper, the Iberian swordsmen, but as you can see down here and to the left on my card, the armor in German, that's why it's in German there, Rüstung, the armor is quite low, it's just 15 and they have only 50 health, so those guys will go down pretty fast if you shoot them in the back or even from the front. So those guys would be some very good targets, but you don't want to waste too much ammo on them because it's just not worth it. You can soften them up a little bit, and this little moral they have left will not left will not stay for long. They will break real soon. Just for little advice at the beginning here. And yeah, as you see, I've thrown in my Hastati first. Those guys make a pretty good job for the beginning because obviously they are being shot and being outnumbered at the beginning, but they're doing fine. And also here I've hidden 2 units of legionaries, and also here they will play a role later, my elephants. So I'm trying to go in here and force him to fall back then later, because what you never want to be facing is the enemy appearing in your back if you're defending some other positions. So here we have some really good players defending, and they know how to cover their backs. And this is a steady go forth and back, go forth and back, because yeah, those guys are obviously, as you will see, pretty experienced and they know what they are doing. And on the positioning, look at this. They're really just positioned around the gate. There's one slinger unit. You could have also positioned 2 here, or maybe even 3 because they are not threatened by anything. But those legionaries right now, but also they are covered. There are a bunch of swordsmen in their back. Even the Iberian general, or Luciani general. So there must be some more troops. Yeah, here. Now they appear. So you should not just jump in here, because if I would do this, yeah, of course, focus of him would shift over here, but it's just not necessary. Look at this. We're just breaking through here. Now I have the ability or opportunity to finish off those Libyans. Just right in the back with a quick volley. Boom, you have 21 left there breaking, and that's it. So we just conquered this space, and there's no need for me to jump in here, because if I would just jump in here, what would happen? I would getting outnumbered immediately, and he could just pick off those very, very effective units, those armored legionaries, which are 2 and 1 Hastati, ranked also 3 of bronze. You should really not waste your units like that, so sometimes it's just better to chill for a moment and don't rush it too much. Of course, time is always ticking, but you just want to go safe in first place, because there's just no use if you die. Kinda logical, huh? Wow, I'm such a genius. So over here you see a big graveyard. So Arverni and Nervii really got this one to a slaughterhouse. I don't know how many units were involved in here, but as seen in the beginning, this was, yeah, pretty much a fight. So as it's not going as well as he hoped, obviously he's now falling back. I'm not sure why he's going all the way around. Maybe he just wants to hide his troops at first, so maybe in the development of a match, sometimes it's just like, okay, you couldn't pay attention to the enemy and how much forces he had, and of course also which forces he had. So sometimes such a move can make sense, of course. Not necessarily. Also, it's dangerous to leave your archers behind here with like no cover at all. As you see, okay, here some battle took place over here. This was some cavalry. I remember this one. This was even the Barbarian general. No, it was just some elite horsemen, I guess, which softened up his um, scouts, cavalry scouts, and now they're just standing here doing some damage, of course. But this is a dangerous situation here. So that's also why it always makes sense, or in most cases makes sense, to bring some cavalry too, at least one or two, depending on your faction, of course, and also depending on the map itself. But sometimes it just makes sense, and if you have some kind of game plan, what you want to do, then bring some cav, even as attackers, because you can just be more flexible outside in defending your archers. And also to a later point in the match, you could pretty good use your cavalry. For example, if we grind this one through and we reach like this point here where the enemy has fallen back all the way back to the center here, this space here will be completely ours. And also over here, this path which I described earlier, which is very dangerous. As you see, there is two elite Lithuanian swordsmen. Those guys are really dangerous. They are absolutely killing it. Look at this, 64 melee attack and 77 of melee defense and 65 health, covered with 70 moral. Those guys will not go down easily. They will take down loads of enemies if you don't have the right setup or situation to engage on them. So yeah, back to the cavalry tip. So if you bring some cavalry, and you might be able to cross this section here very fast, you can be able to appear back in the back of your opponent. So depending on if he notices or not, this can really be a game changer. But nevertheless, of course, cavalry in a siege is always, yeah, a choice to make. So now, as you see, we unfortunately missed this a little bit, but as you remember, I took my time here and didn't jump in immediately at the space because I saw the numbers of the enemy. So I said to myself, okay, waiting would be the better choice. And then I brought all my archers, which were here at the first engagement, over to the other side, because I knew if he will not retreat from here, those guys, pretty much all of them, have little to no armor. So if they would stay in this position and they would just beef with my archers, they will lose this engagement. And that's what he knew, so he decided to fall back, which was a good decision on his side. But also, he had to give me this ground and I could easily walk in with like little to no losses. And now you have roam into your village. This is something you don't want to happen, but it happened. And also, it was some kind of respectable, good choice by Barbarian or Luciani. So, good general over here, obviously. And in the middle here, we have this epic grind down. Here my legionnaires just broke through those Luciani defense lines, which only was a matter of time because I clearly have the better units, or had the better units in this particular situation. And over here, this is not kinda easy because you have those Samnite warriors. Those guys are really not too bad. If you just buy them and you don't upgrade them, they are, yeah, quite a solid force. As you see, they have 36 in melee attack. Looking pretty awesome. I love those Rowan shields. And yeah, of course they have 95 armor, which is pretty strong for an infantry swords unit. Most units don't have that much armor. And 65 health, of course. Like, this is elite level. If you have 65 health, this is really good. Moral is quite average. But if you upgrade those, like to 2 or 3 ranks, you will end up with a unit that has 65 health, 95 armor, and around about 60 or maybe 62 or 61 melee defense and 40 to 42 in attack, melee attack. So this is quite solid then. So you have a unit that holds long and also easily can take on average other units and will win this engagement. So always worth the price then. Will cost around 1000 denaries or whatever the currency is called, I still don't know. But I say denaries because it's Rome. And over here you have, yeah, the Galatian Royal Guard against Oathsworn. Oh, they're totally getting sandwiched. Oh, this is bad. Oh wow, look at this. The Galatian Royal Guard is one of my favorite Egyptian units because obviously they are so strong. They have 50 attack, melee attack, 45 weapon damage, 75 armor, and 69 melee defense, which is awesomely high, and 65 health plus 70 moral. So those guys won't go down easy. They will take some of your boys with you. And of course they have also some special abilities, like they can go on headhunt and shield wall. So depending on what situation they are facing, they can really rock it. But in this case, yeah, they still made 82 kills in a sandwich position between 2 Oathsworn units. Maybe they also killed some other units, I don't know, but to hold out so long, which wasn't actually too long of course, but sandwiched by 2 Oathsworn, it is long. And here, of course, being shot down the cliffs by some slingers and possibly archers. And more slingers. This was a pretty decent stand. And now, I guess those guys have no armor anymore. Yeah, he's sending in his archers. Which I wouldn't necessarily do, because over here, maybe if you think about, okay, they are going to waste their ammo on them, that's a reason to send them in there. But as those guys will not hold very long, no, they will hold very short time against those professional and elite troops. So this is kind of not worth it. I would pull them back and use them at a later point, because you never know when you could use them. And I think that a good general knows the value of low-cost troops. So low-cost troops, for example, or low-efficient troops, from my understanding, are also like missile units that have no more ammunition left. You can still use them. Like, for example, you could, at a later point of the match, you could just send them ahead and crush or crash into enemy lines while they are not able to aim for better units that are going to follow your archers with their javelins. So therefore, you can use those units that will not cause a lot of damage anymore just as meat shields. That's what it is. It's just what it is, and it's quite effective. Also, you could send those around this way just to walk in first because they are not too much worth it anymore and they could soak up all this tower fire for you. Then you could send your legionaries, of course. And this way you could get through this long passage, maybe, without losing too many men or costs. So as you see, long talking, long grinding, we reached the inner part of the city. Now over here we have a very dangerous situation which I would pretty much avoid by all costs by myself. This is really some situation where you should stay out of as long as possible. Of course, the clock is always ticking in your neck, that's no question, but it's pretty much no use to throw your units in here. Even if this guy had obviously good reasons to challenge those units, I wouldn't do it. Because one, those are Oathsworn, so you will not go through here very soon, very fast. And second, here's a cliff with maybe hundreds of missile units that can just fire down, rain down archers and projectiles. In worst case, directly into your back or on the side where you're not shielded, so this is nothing to seek for. And here in the middle you have this little hill protected by Luciani nobles. And this is some very good move they are doing here. Because as they know, those Galatian royal guards might have the order to go for this unit. And they're also so weakened up. If they now fall back a little bit, which they did, those royal guards will follow them. And in this process of following the other troops, the general of Luciani just sent in another troop and crushed them into the side. And those guys, as you can see, they have a charge bonus of 32, which is quite high. So they will do loads of damage at this particular moment. So this is like very good microing over here by Luciani again. So this guy definitely is one experienced general and he is knowing what he is doing. So over here, another situation where you can see he knows what he's doing. He's just trying to get some Iberians through this little gap I have here and rushing through towards my archers, throwing in some jabbies, killing 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 or 6 of my archers. So he just took the initiative. Luckily I saw this coming, I saw him doing that. But also here he has got some slingers that are firing down the cliffs, or at least trying. They need to have the right angle to be able to shoot down here. So I'm a little bit lucky that they don't. But I was able to save my archers and get back into the fight over here. Normally it's quite dangerous to be right here, because if there's enemy archers, and in most cases there's a tons of enemy archers, you are going to be on the silver plate for them. But right now it's only slingers and my men are heavily armored anyway, and down here is just light infantry and spearmen, so I can try to progress and grind through here and maybe get some new route into the center and open it. On the other side, it's still some heavy grind over here. My elephants also are in position, waiting for their turn. And the Arverni general is just jumping into the battle, or not. He was like, okay, let's go, have some fun, boys. And then, oh, okay, maybe later then. Just stop it. We are too early in this particular case to jump in on the Egyptian general. And as I remember, yes, that's his last unit. He's sacrificing right here. So, yeah. Nervii and myself, we still have some units left here. But unfortunately, Egypt is going to make his last move here. Yeah, that's the thing. If you're going too aggressive on the enemy, you're going to lose tons of units very fast, because in most cases it's just a little bit more clever to go slowly, because if you rush in, you really have to be communicating with your team and get, like, let's say, the permission, because if you rush in alone or rush forward alone, you are going to end up in the situation where you are going to face three enemies. And this is something, or situationally, you are going to face three enemies, and this is what you would like to avoid, of course. Look at this. This is literally Carthage, Luciani, and Arverni all on the Egyptian general. So that's the deal. Don't go too aggressive, or otherwise you're going to end up exactly like this, like a sandwich. So right now we have a moment where I was like, should I go and pressure them over here? Or should I maybe try to walk all this way around? First thing you want to check is, like, do I have enough time for such a move? And also, like, how dangerous is it to move on here? I did this several times, and I honestly have to say, in most cases, this was too expensive to move through here. So in most cases, I would really say don't move through there, even if this way is a possibility. I would not do that. But of course, there might be some situations where it just makes sense. Do it, decide for yourself. But in this particular case, I would say no. It's just with those slingers he has and archers, they could easily run over there, get into position, and rain down archers and projectiles, arrows en masse. So yeah, that's what I was doing. I was going on here. And trying to go and find my way through here. But as you see, this is anything but easy, because yeah, this is archers, this is easy going, but over here it's the royal mercenaries or noble mercenaries. This is some super elite swords unit. No chance to go through here. Very easy. And even my legionaries, even if they're still at 100 units and also getting shot from back here, those guys will have a tough time and they will have no chance to grind through here. So the only thing I'm trying to achieve is to move up a little bit, send some other legionaries which have still javies, so they can unleash their javies all on those elite soldiers. And I'm trying to get some shots, one unit with like heavy shot. Are they out of ammo right now? No, they are not. With heavy shots also onto those elite soldiers. And the other two guys should be shooting on whatever is up on here. So right here you see those Iberian slingers, which were really nasty. He always pulled them back and moved them back forward again. So it was always like some kind of hit and run. But as you see, I noticed him doing this. I was quite active. I didn't sleep over here, so look at this. And there's two others. Just when you think, okay, you've just eaten up this one unit, not even fully, two others are going to appear in the high grasses. It's like some aggressive Pokemon. You're just walking here, you're like Ash and thinking about nothing but your next tournament, being a Pokemon champion, and then boom, here they come. Slingers throwing tons of stones at you, and you're just like, why? Yeah, that's it. That's life. Then when you do not expect it, it's going to strike super hard, so you better be aware. So let's just take a look how much damage we did on those guys. Yeah, at least it was... Let me just count 80 units, thanks, 70 or 80 units. Yeah, math is so hard, and sometimes you just fail to count simple numbers. Yeah, and over here, Nervii is really trying to become the king of the hill, but has some really hard time against those Oathsworn. Are those? No, those are noble spearmen. Yeah, they took some heavy damage so far and only have 37 kills. But that's the thing. If you go with your royal spearmen, wow, look at this, 116 melee defense. They can hold quite a while, but still they only have 34 in melee attack, and this is going to be the turning point when it comes to the fight with any sword unit in most cases. Because those guys, as you can see, they have 55. Dude, 55 in melee attack and 53, 61 right now because of, I guess, he used Headhunt. Those guys are simply going to destroy their armor, destroy their everything, and just kill them. So the only thing those guys are able to do is just hold and buy time. So if they do this, oh, look at this. That volley of jabbies, Jesus Christ. Ooh. So those guys, if you use them, you have to have some kind of strategy where it makes sense to use them. So if you have a choke point like this, and you can cover them, back them up with some archers or whatever, where you know, okay, you're going to run around with some cavalry, even chariots, or you have elephants or whatever, just something to make it worth the wait for those guys, then you can use them. So in my opinion, there's for pretty much every unit in this game, there's some kind of use that makes sense, and I'm pretty sure there's also some useful tactics no one has ever used so far, and you could still create a new tactic, but I totally understand if it's sometimes hard to try new things because sometimes the community is just very toxic, especially when it comes to new players. They will absolutely not understand your intention to outmaneuver, for example, your enemy or do some sneaky moves. In most cases, especially those new players or unexperienced players are trying to, yeah, bang their head through the wall. But this is exactly what you want to avoid in sieges as good as you can. In this particular case here, to say once again, it's quite hard to do so. In most sieges, it is. Because you have just limited space, you have limited opportunities to come behind your enemy or surprise him. For example, what you could do is to line up on here that it looked like you would attack here in full strength and have some units back in here where they can hide and attack this position. But this is also super risky because in many cases, in my experience, on this map, people try to use this gate for their cavalry to send them out or chariots or whatever to attack your missile units from behind. So that means that your hidden units may not be hidden for very long. And if they find you out here, they could easily outnumber you if you are very unlucky and pick you apart. So always have a good strategy, maybe communicate with your teammates, let them know what you will gonna be doing, and then just try to make it the best. We all have to try things and fail and do it again, maybe optimize it, because sometimes even if it fails, it's just not a bad tactic, but maybe wrong timing or just the enemy had the exact correct answer to this move. So don't be too strict to yourself if things don't work out immediately. Sometimes, or in most cases, it really just takes time. If you have enough experience, like for myself, for example, I play this game since the release, which was, I guess, back in the early 1800s or something. It's really like ages. Sometimes I don't believe how long I'm playing this game for now. But as you're getting more experience, there's just situation you can handle better, even if you didn't experience them yet, just because you have some kind of experience. And yeah, so just take it easy, try the best you can, but always, it's so important, always enjoy the progress. Till this day, I'm not playing this game to win. I love this grind. I love the microing, the outmaneuvering, the positioning, everything in here. Look at those guys running around with their armor, their shields, their swords. This is awesome. I could watch this all day. Or let's say almost all day. Look at this. That's so beautiful. This is why we play this game. There's 3 cohorts of armored legionaries moving up, lining up, preparing for battle. No one knows if they are going to survive this, but those men are just brave. Battle-hardened legionaries by now. Look at this. And the sounds. This is just why you want to play this. Also, why you want to watch this. I personally watched a lot of gaming commentaries by Pixelated Paul. I totally love those, and that's why I just started. This is actually my second commentary I'm doing by myself. Actually feeling a little bit more comfortable than away from the first one. but I totally loved his gaming commentaries, and unfortunately he focused on some other games, which I totally understand, because at some point you just have to move on, and he did this for ages. So I just thought, why shouldn't I do something by myself? Maybe I'm going to enjoy this and just give it a shot. And here we are, just commentating the latest super nice game or match I played. And yeah, you just never know where it leads you, so sometimes it's just taking the initiative and do things by yourself, right? And by the way, you see that I decided to move all over on the right flank here, because I didn't see the opportunity to break through over here. Actually, I saw it's kind of risky, and also my ally lost pretty many troops over here, so I wanted to support him, and especially I wanted to create a situation where I can use my elephants. Yes, elephants. Those kind, lovely animals are still in the game. And by the way, because many people say, yeah, Roman elephants, they suck. I don't think so, because those elephants are still able to kill tons of enemies. You have always to protect them, because they are going down very, very easily and fast if you don't take care of them by any projectiles. And also they can go wild and run over your own units. But if you have something in mind and you know how to use them, you can always, pretty much always use them. They are just so much deadlier than any other unit. That's just a fact. Elephants are just killing machines in this game. Those guys are the tanks of their time. So if you have the chance to pick elephants to your army and your opponents don't have some factions that are actual big threats to them, go for it. Dare to choose your elephants, even at a siege, but don't you waste them. Those guys are really something for the late game. I simply cannot send them in, because even at this point, look how long this match has been running. Look at what has been going on. Look at all those bodies. Whoa, look at this. It's just everywhere, especially here in the center. Wow, this is so many dead bodies. And over here, yeah, this is just a total grind down. This is to the last man. You will see this one will take really to the last seconds of the match. This will be a grind. So to close that bridge up, I was talking about those elephants cannot be used until the enemy has that much ammunition and could easily take them down or make them go wild. So you want to keep them or save them for the very last moment, which is, by the way, pretty near, because as you are seeing, those legionaries here, they took quite some losses. This one is pretty healthy, like 140 men, but this one is down to under 50. Also here, 63, 81, 70, and they are facing those elite Luciani nobles. So they will suffer some losses, for sure. Especially because, look at this, all those slingers, it's the Rhodian slingers. Those guys are real bastards. They are dealing damage so hard. But unfortunately, I have no ammo left. Even if those guys did pretty good. Look at this. 240 kills by my archers here. This one, 220. And this one here, even 240 as well. So this is like 700 kills by 3 units of archers. I can't complain about this one, but still there is tons of projectiles being unleashed on our units, on our troops. In this situation, what you want to do is to send everybody in. You don't want to stand here like on the silver plate, even if they're just shooting them from the front, so you have a higher chance to block their projectiles, but they are still going to do some damage. And if those guys, for example, Nervii would just engage in here, the chance is very high that some of those projectiles are going to hit straight into the back of their own units, or that they just stop shooting. And this gives you some time to grind through, deal some damage, and maybe then close in really quick on those guys. Nervii, the last archers he's got, also 200, over 200 kills. He's also really doing a great job over here. Not only over here, he was really patient with all the moves he did. And now look at this. This is just also expert play. He knows he's got javelins left, and instead of just rushing in his general and attacking, he tries to soften those guys up because they are just so deadly, and unleashing the javelins as good as you can. So you see, in this case, it makes sense that he's back in here throwing his javelins, and for example here, he's just doing the shield wall to get some more armor to his units, because obviously he's getting shot. And yeah, over here, the action begins. I send in my general, my archers without ammo. I walk all the way around here just to surprise my enemy, which is focused on this side here, and crush in here. This could be the game changer. Look at this power bar, the power balance. This could change rapidly with those elephants appearing in the back of those elite units. Look at this, look at this. Here they come. Let's go, boys. Boom. Oh, he didn't see that one coming. Look at this. And immediately, that's what you want to do. You like to charge in, activate those trample, mass storm, crash into one unit, and immediately after they crashed into one unit, click on the next one, go for the next one, attack them, because this way they are going to use their full potential on trampling the enemy. So go unit by unit and don't let this general get away here. Kill them. And that was exactly what I was doing. I was just crushing them into the back. Maybe it was a little too late, we will see. But this move was totally necessary. If I didn't do this, our line would have broken. And we probably would have lost, because we will get outnumbered. And my elephants also don't have the highest of moral. It's just 58. In the beginning it was 55. But at this moment they were just fighting as they are supposed to. And they have a 150 kills at this point in that short time. And think about it. It was really almost only elite units of my enemy. So that's what you want to have them for. And they have one unit of slingers left. And this is where something really annoying happens. So this was some kind of mistake I did. I sent them for the general. At this point, I already clicked for them. You see this to go for the gate, but still they charge for the general, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of my 6 of my elephants run straight into the pikes. This was so unnecessary. This was like, I felt like, okay, this could have been the price for winning or losing the game. This little move here. Of course, you can always say, yeah, there's so much happening in the game, and that's absolutely correct. So pay attention to the little things. It's like in life. It's not always the big happenings. It's the small steps. It's the positioning. It's where you get with which men you get there, how you lose them, how they win. So this is why a really good general just respects and tolerates even his newest noobish troops without any experience. They can make the difference. So this is the situation you don't want to see at the end of the game, where you have two almost fully healthy, oh, they are fully healthy units of pikemen standing in your way directly at the edge of the victory point, and you have only 3 possibilities to get into there. And of course, time is running. As I remember, this was like about 6 minutes left. And we had to do some choices really quick. So what I really wanted to do is to kill this general. Because if this general is dead, their moral is going to drop real quick. And in the appearance of my elephants, which scare off the enemy, you never know if they're just going to break. Especially if there's no more elite units around, which there's 2 right now. So this was really, from the beginning to the ending, a super good match. I mean, look at this. Nervii is just spotting this little gap in here. And he's like, come on, we need to get into this victory point. We need to get behind those pikes. And I was like, also, okay, we need to get around here. We need to get those slingers away, because I can't send my elephants through here when those slingers are near. It's always highly risky then. So I sent them around to tackle them from both sides. And this is literally the last moments of this match. Nervii General about to kill the Carthaginian general. My general charging into the backs of those pikemen. My elephants appearing in here. My legionaries breaking on the other side. So this is pure chaos at the end. Now this is very dangerous for my elephants, so I try to send them through here, go for the cavalry, and then go for the backs of those pikes here, which I managed to do. Or like almost. I thought I hit them. Now they turn around, so you have to go away from here. Go for the other pikemen again. They will turn around immediately. So this was really a match with real good, experienced players. It was so much fun. The Nervii general completely out of breath, fighting his lung out, and there we go. So this was super close, but we really tried our best to achieve the victory. credits to all players who took part in this battle. It was a really, really good one. I really enjoyed the whole match. And just let's take a quick look on the scene. So luckily, and yeah, I'm very proud of this one because it was really good guys fighting here. I killed the most of all participants here. I got the most kills. That's always nice to see. Also got fewest losses, but also you have to mention, okay, I brought the least men, the fewest. Yeah, just look at here. Okay, my elephants, 246 kills. So just think of it, how close it was, and I had 0 kills with my artillery. That's because I just waited a little bit too long. I just should have engaged on those units because if they are once out of range, I cannot use it anymore. So I sent them in at a later point. We didn't cover this in the video, but I just missed the opportunity to use one unit effectively. And this in the end could really have turned the tide. So here we go, 0 kills. Unfortunately, but the rest did actually quite decent. Look at those legionaries, 382 kills. The rest of those legionaries, all of them did a very good job. Also here, 340. Wow. And also my archers. This is like how you want to use your units quite effectively. It's not always going to work. Of course, sometimes enemies just better. You're doing mistakes. That's just how life is, how this game works, and any other game too. You just want to avoid mistakes and be as efficient as possible with every little unit. And I mean this quite literally. Every little unit, everyone counts. So over here, Nervii, yeah, got some 126 kills, decent number with his artillery. His archers made quite a good job, and this is always worthy. Like if you have 4 archers in a siege, this it's just priceless because they are so important in sieges. Also, his cheap units here, cheap sword infantry, he upgraded as well. Made some real good appearance on the battlefield. Yeah, those ones failed. I don't know what kind of plans he had, but yeah, this one unit is alright, but yeah, they are pretty much the same as those guys here, as those Celtic warriors, but cost like 150 to 200 denaries more, but they have the ability to hide. So if you like to do an ambush and you have a good idea how to do so, they can be worth the price, but otherwise I would always go with those Celtic warriors. And of course, it's always risky to bring some naked warriors, especially if you attack a city. But he did, and did also like 82 kills. That's okay. You could have ended up worse here. And yeah, if you take a look on those elite warriors, those Oathsworn, it's alright. He did a good job over here. 200, 200. That's just fine. That's very good. But 69, that's a number you don't want to see. You never know for what reason, what happened. You could be surrounded, ended up in a bad position, or just you had some archer or projectile focus on that one unit. Just happens, sucks. You lose a good unit, have almost no kills with them. You paid a lot of money. That's what you want to avoid at every cost, but it happens. That's why it's some kind of competition, right? And over here, let's have a look what Ruska made this run. And yeah, you see also his archers did a pretty decent job. Those guys are really just killers. Here, same thing as like the Oathsworn Sander Udemas had. It's just only a few kills for such an expansive unit, like three of them. Those guys, those guys are really able, if you use them right, to completely demolish the enemy army. So, as we remember, he went a little bit too aggressive, and I guess this was the problem because his army is, yeah, kind of decent. It's alright. I'm not the greatest fan of those cheap sword units because they have only little damage to deal out and always also just a little bit of health. It's like 50, I guess. So with little moral, they are pretty fast done with fighting, and this is what I always like to avoid by choosing units. Sometimes there are good meat shields, but yeah, somebody has to go in first. So 2 to 3 units may be a good idea, but as many of them, if you have the right idea of how to use them, you can do this always. Maybe it just didn't work for this time. This like can always happen. Happens to me all the not all the time, but it still happens to me too. So um, that's all right. And then let's just have a look on the enemy side. Look at those guys. 2,600, 2,100 if you want so, and 2,800 kills. Those guys really, really rocked it. This is like team play as it should be. So there's no one not participating or being completely overpowered by his opponent. This was just a solid teamwork fighting. That's why they have all quite good stats over here. Just take a look on this one. Wow, one archer unit with like 250 kills. This one also almost 200. Those slingers 140. And you also never know what kind of units they finished off. If you have so many units finished off by them, I pretty much like to bet there were some low armored units they killed. For example, some archers of Nervii. This is of course then a big strike because if you can kill enemy archers, in best case very early in the game, this can really completely change the game, the outcome of the game. So yeah, very good job over here. And also, as you have a look at those Libyan infantry, they all of them did a very decent job. This one unit even killed 304 units. Holy shit. I don't know what or who they killed, but that's awesome. Those pikes, as we seen in the end, were just holding the line, doing a great job killing elephants. Yeah, they really saved the day. And also over here, look at this. The mercenaries, Italian swordsmen. Over 100 kills. Even more those as those two Libyans. Yeah, that's what you like to see at the end of the match, because if that happens, the cheap units have loads of kills, you may end up in a very good position. Also over here, those mercenary Samnite warriors did a pretty decent job, and those mercenary noble swordsmen did an okay job. They are just capable of so much more, but to sum it up, this was most definitely, look at those kills, 2,600, just an awesome job. He did pretty much everything right, I guess, most things for sure. And then let's have a look at Killer B. So Marshal Malinovsk, you have just to remember the name if you see him anywhere in the match or pre-match, you know this one's gonna be a good guy. Also Killer B, yeah, Killer B. That's a fantastic name. Very smart. Um, this guy, Yeah, I really know what he was doing. We faced a lot, so that's why he also lost so many units. Didn't get too many kills, but he did really a very good job. He was maneuvering very, very, very good. And look at his unit stats over here. Yeah, those guys. You always want to have those guys with like 200 and more kills. This is, of course, this is wishful thinking, but this is also like something I demand of those kind of units because they have so much of killing power. You just have to protect them so they can release all their potential. And if they can, you will just smack the hell out of the enemies. So try to do your best to protect them and get them into the fight at the right moment, best timing, and best situation. Yeah. Huh. Look at those slingers. They did not too much damage over here. This quite decent. This one did a good job. This was the last one standing as we remember at the victory point. And yeah, those guys did okay. Really okay. Here, one, two, three. Those around 100 kills in average. I guess that's pretty decent. And those guys, yeah, it's some of your cheap units will be eaten. It's like in most cases like that. So I guess that's quite acceptable. And here, Leaks in Arthur also had super many kills, second place here. Yeah, his riders 176 kills, and also some horses they killed within those stats. And those archers did also a pretty decent job. Okay, those ones, yeah, that's not what you want to see. Like 50 kills is too less. But those slingers with like over 100, 130 kills, that's awesome. That's really, really good. And here, look at those Oathsworn. 400 kills plus. 300, 200, 200. And this are not even Oathsworn. This is like Chosen Swordsman. 200. Wow. So yeah, he definitely did a really, really good job. Here are some meat shield units. It's like if you say it like that, some meat shield units is always like you had some units to throw away. That's not the case. It's just you have to know their function. That's it. You have to know their function. If you're lucky, you can use them to finish off some other cheap units, or maybe their strength is to kill enemy cav units, so cavalry. But if there's no chance to face cavalry, those guys are also pretty good to just hold a stand for the beginning because they have a high melee defense. But yeah, it's just what it is. They will not kill too many units if you manage to do this. Yeah, it's kind of like a jackpot, but two of them you can always choose those into your ranks. It's not a bad decision because they are quite solid for their price, absolutely solid, and they always make room for units like those. So if you have 4 Oathsworn units, you have some much killing power. In his case, I would have gone by 5 and used some other unit like here to go for cheaper cavalry. But as you see, those guys did a fantastic job as well. So he had a plan and he had it worked out right. Really, really good. So yeah, in the end, this was one fantastic match, really good one, really good players, and yeah, I guess this is something it's worth commentating on. So I have to say this was some really cool session. Thank you for watching, and maybe you are stopping by another day too to have some more Rome 2 Siege footage and learn some more about some amazing game we all love. So, in this ending, have a great one and see you around. Bye bye.